Hey guys and girls, welcome to my brand new studio. So this has been a video which I've been really excited to make, and I wanted to bring this to you for a whole month. My old studio was about 15 years old, and you guys who've been visiting my channel regularly in the past know that I've worked in a shoebox. Well, compared to this anyways, it was a fantastic studio. I loved it, but it was 15 years old and it needed an upgrade, and it turned into this. Believe it or not, this is the same studio that I used to work in, and a little bit later I'm going to tell you exactly how I did that. And those of you who are new to the channel, welcome, and if you do enjoy contents like this, then please do consider hitting the subscribe button, hitting the bell notification, so that you know when new videos are going to be coming out. So my brand new studio, I have been planning this literally for a year, and in January this year I decided that's it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a week off and I'm going to build my studio, rebuild my studio, because this is actually the same space that I've been working in for 15 years. In 2008, when I moved into the house where I live, I actually built a recording studio in my house. I converted one of the spaces, and it's been a fantastic space to work, and it served me really well for all of those years, and I did many videos and recordings in that space. But you know what, it was time for an upgrade. I needed more space and I wanted a different space to work in, especially starting this year. So I took some time off, and this whole thing took me 9 days to do. And previously, believe it or not, I used to work in this space here. I literally had about this much space. My desk used to be just behind me. My studio desk, which you see behind me there, it actually used to be right behind where my legs are right now. So my space was quite restricted. Served me really well because I figured out where to put the cameras and stuff and shoot videos in here. Had all of my gear, my essential gear right in here, my amps and stuff, so I could record. But it wasn't an ideal space. And the reason was because I used to have two rooms here. This used to be the control room, and I used to have a live room starting about here and going to the back of the room there. And over the years I used that for recording. I used to mic up guitar cabs in there and do vocal recordings in there when necessary as well. But for a good 3, 4, 5 years I haven't actually used that room. It became a storage space and a junk room, to be perfectly honest. Had my overflow of guitars, and also one of my amps, my two speaker cabs in there, and just boxes and junk, literally junk and rubbish. And I didn't want to keep going in there and seeing junk and rubbish in there. I wanted to have it as a usable space. So sometime last year I kind of decided that I was going to take down the walls which I had built when I originally built the studio in 2008, and I set about planning to do that. Now when I planned to do that, I didn't just want to do a quick kind of like renovation and then have it look the same way that it previously did. I had a specific plan in mind, and in all honesty, this is exactly how I saw it in my mind. And it is so cool to be in here now because everything is within arm's reach. Pretty much every single guitar I own is in the studio, it's on the walls. My amps are all racked up in this custom shelving unit which I built. They used to actually be the doors which used to separate the two rooms. I repurposed them. I pretty much repurposed everything, and I refinished the walls, finished the ceiling, put up some absolutely amazing absorbers in my listening position, and then repositioned my desk as well. And it just sounds amazing in here. Working in here has been an absolute joy for the last month, and I did finish it around about a month ago, about 4 weeks ago. I'd completely finished it and I'd started to work in here and give guitar lessons and do some recording stuff and just enjoying the space. So I'm going to grab my GoPro and then I'm going to give you a tour of the entire studio. So I'll see you in a sec. So let's show you guys around the studio. So here it is. It's such an amazing space. Alrighty, so I've had this studio for a long time, like I said, and it is very different from how it started life. And I'll just give you a quick spin of the room. There you go. Looks pretty cool, eh? And in fact, if I put the camera up here, this is the position I used to put the camera in when I used to shoot my videos. And the space I actually had was from about here to maybe about there. So that used to be the space that I used to work in, and I just figured it out, and I was able to effectively work here and shoot videos and record music and stuff. But I wanted a space which was much bigger. So I used to have a second room from where this strip used to be. So you can probably see a darker wood strip there on my laminate flooring. And that actually is the position where the separating walls used to be. This whole place used to be two isolated rooms. So there were two walls in that position, and one was for the space back there, one was for the space down here. And I used to record my guitar cabs and stuff in there. So I've got my two cabs there. You can see my Gens bends, which is a 412, and a Randall 212 as well, and my Randall RM100, which I haven't used for a long time. Some MTS modules as well. But on the other side, I now have this beautiful shelving unit for my my amplifiers. These are all my custom built amps. I have a JP69, my Marshall Jake 20, my slow drag, which is a custom Soldano SLO, purple number 39, which is the SIR number 39, and also my red stuff Odin amp and my JP5 amp there as well. And they're all hooked in to my interface, which is over on the desk there, which I'll show you in a second. So recording these is really easy. And one thing I noticed was, because I wasn't sitting right on top of them, because they used to live where this Randall cab was, and also on this shelf here, because I wasn't right there, the sound is just so much better with the amps racked up like this, because my seating position is over there, standing position's over there as well, and the sound is just so much clearer. It was fantastic hearing how the amps sounded in this room, because my guitar's not directly facing the amplifiers, and also my load boxes, which actually caused a little bit of feedback and lack of gain and things like that. It did have a material effect on the sound. So on the top here have all of my pedals, pretty much all of them now. They used to be strewn around the house. They used to be in different rooms and stuff, because I just physically couldn't fit everything in here. And I have a bunch more pedals down here as well, and my little cab as well, which is for my JP5 amp. That sits there now, but everything's within arm's reach, like I said. And likewise with my guitars, I wanted to mount them all on the wall. Again, my overflow used to be in different rooms in the house, but now I have everything on guitar hangers. I've got a couple of guitars elsewhere. Yeah, collection's a little bit bigger than this, but most of them are in here. My main guitar's right down here on this absorber panel, actually, that you can see right behind them. They're the ones that I use pretty much every day. My Flying V there, which my very good friend Dan Lovett Horn had given to me. I did a guitar swap with him, and I love that guitar. So cool that it's in here, and I can just pick it off the wall whenever I want and play it. And on the other side, I've got some ESP guitars over there. Have Bones, have my Vola. I have a new guitar as well. Yeah. Did anyone spot that one? Video on that soon. Frankie, my other V, which is back there, the Ran V. And also my Strat, my Telly by Musi, and my iconic guitars, Evolution S as well, which is fantastic. I even managed to get my Phoenix guitar in here, which I built a couple of years ago. It's a fantastic guitar, I just haven't had time to play it. And I've got it within arm's reach now, so I'm going to be using it on videos. And some other guitars on the back shelf here as well. Made a good use of space. Alrighty, over to my workstation. So my workstation stayed the same. It's exactly the same desk that I used to use. Same speakers, my Yamaha HS80s, which I've been using for a very long time, probably about 12, 13 years I've had those. Everything is now powered by that there, which is the Mac Studio M1 processor in there, 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive. It's an absolute fantastic computer, really powerful. The Studio actually ran on my old Mac Pro, which is still down there, my tower, and it ran really well on that for many years, but it was struggling a little bit in the last couple of years because of software updates and just the processing power that was needed for 4K video, which I'm shooting in these days and stuff. Interface, I have an Audient ID44, which is fantastic. Love the sound of that. And also I use the Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40 just as a preamp really, and that hooks into the Audient via light cable. So it extends the preamps because I only have 4 inputs on the Audient, and this gives me a couple more inputs for a couple more of my amplifiers. So when I did this listening position here, one of the important things was that it needed to sound really good where I mix, which is right there. You can see my seat there, my lovely seat, which looks like a sports car seat. I love that. By Vesti Gear. Really comfortable chair, by the way. So on the sides of my listening position, you'll probably see those lighter panels against the grey. They're actually absorbers, and they're 100mm thick, which is about 4 inches thick, 5 inches thick, and they're filled with insulation material, and they're huge. They basically go from there right up to the ceiling down there, and there's one on this side as well. So one on each side of my listening position, and they absorb frequencies so that in my listening position right here, I'm getting a very flat response. I'm not getting any reflections and stuff, which is absolutely fantastic. And then on the back wall, you'll see on either side of Jimmy, there's another 2 absorbers, and they do a fantastic job of making sure that the sound going from the back of the speakers back there doesn't reflect back to my listening position down here. There are a couple of smaller absorbers on the walls there as well. You'll see the grey absorbers on either side, and they're doing a really good job as well, and I'm not finding any kind of like bass frequencies kind of freaking out in here like they used to in the old studio, and it's just a pleasure to mix in here. I'm hearing things much differently to how I previously used to hear things, so that was an incredibly important part of it. The ceiling has been redone with these acoustic tiles, and the entire ceiling's done. Finally the entire ceiling's done, because that's one thing that I never got around to completely doing. And then I finished the walls with these carpet tiles as well. I really like these. Love the texture of them, love the color, and I basically used them pretty much throughout. Now, in the previous iteration of the studio, I had just used pieces of cloth and felt and stuff on some of the walls, and some of the walls were just not finished. Part of the ceiling wasn't finished and stuff like that. Now everything's done, even the door. I used a different carpet tile on that, but I finished that off. Now the carpet tile actually serves a purpose as well. It stops like just some basic reflections. So this works really well and looks great as well. I really do like the color in here. It's very calming in here now. You know, it's a very beautiful, calming place. And just to show you the construction of the studio as well, if I open the door here, you'll notice that this is actually quite wide here. The reason it's quite wide is because this is actually a stud wall. It's a 100mm stud wall, and then there's an air gap between the house and the stud wall there. That's how studios are made, basically. It's a box within a box. And it used to be 2 boxes within the space that was here. So the studio is actually soundproofed, and in between the 100mm there, it's actually packed with insulation material, which soundproofs. And then on top of that, there are 2 layers of plasterboard or sheetrock, whatever you want to call it, and a layer of acoustic matting. It's this rubber mat, which is a sound absorber as well. Very, very effective, extremely heavy stuff that to work with. I remember putting it up, and it was a real nightmare to use that stuff, but it does the job. It makes the whole place very, very soundproof. And in here it's very quiet for me to work. I don't hear sounds from outside the studio. Likewise, people don't hear when I'm kind of cranking the amps and blasting the music in here, which is awesome. And I also repurposed a lot of the stuff which I took out. Like I mentioned, there were two walls down here in that gap there that you can see, and they actually turned, or part of the walls actually turned into these absorbers here. Yeah, they were basically kind of just parts of the walls. So created both of these absorbers, those two big absorbers back there. The smaller absorbers I already had, so I just basically put them back on the wall. So very, very little wastage in here as well. In fact, even this shelving unit, which I built for my amps, the wood for this used to be the doors between the two rooms, and they used to live basically just down there. So I didn't even have to buy any additional wood to create this shelving unit. I basically just used the doors, split them in half lengthways, and used those as the timber to create this shelving unit. Painted it. Looks great. It's a little bit rough and ready, but I actually love that about it. It just looks super, super, super cool. And one final thing which was important in here was the lighting. In my desk space, I have two lamps which are just on the speakers there. Had to have the LED lighting. I love that about this. It creates a really nice ambience in this space, and I've got it behind my rack of amps as well. Had to go there. But it's just beautiful, when I turn the lights off, looks absolutely awesome in here as well. And on the ceiling have these spotlights which do a good job, and just a single spotlight here in my work position. Have an additional light here, so when I'm doing Zoom calls and stuff and teaching lessons over Zoom, then people can see me. But just such a wonderful and comfortable place to work. Alrighty, on the other side of the studio I have this wonderful rack which is holding all of my hot tone gear and processors and stuff. I actually have a Roland GR20 synth down there, and even my Yamaha FX550, which was the first processor I ever bought. And also holds my camera gear. It's down there, which is fantastic. Everything has a place, which I really like. Like I showed you earlier, I've got my 412 there, which is actually doubling up via these very, very handy guitar hooks as a guitar stand as well. So my 96 Very-X James Tyler Strat there, and my bass guitar, they're out of the way as well, which is, I don't need guitar stands for those now, which is just wonderful. I really like that whole thing. It looks cool, and it's very functional. And like I said, my Randall RM100 is down here, and some other bits and pieces up here as well. Another little amp which my friend Stefan had sent me. You might have seen a video on that one. And a couple of more absorbers down here as well. So the Steve Vai Ultrazone panel there, and the Dream Theater 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. They're actually absorber panels as well, and I had them left over, so they look cool as artwork. So I thought, you know what, that's where I'm going to put them, right under the air conditioner, because I couldn't fit guitars down there. That's the only reason there aren't more guitars down here, because the air conditioner is in the way. Air conditioner is incredibly important in here because there aren't any windows. So I need to get air in here. Now, some of you who know about acoustics might be screaming at the screen right now and screaming at me, saying, hey, why do you have so many reflective surfaces on 3 walls of your studio? That's not going to sound good. Well, you're right. You know what? I have all my guitars up here, and Technically, some of them are reflective surfaces, although a lot of them are just plain wood, so they're actually absorbing surfaces as well. But it's a good question. Well, I've gotten around the problem of the guitars acting as reflective surfaces by actually angling them. So if you have a look at the guitars on my walls, they're all angled. None of them are straight on. Two reasons for that. Well, one reason was because I cannot fit all of my guitars in here if they are straight on. And secondly, they're acting as diffusers. By being angled, they're basically diffusing the sound waves in different directions. And you can see all my guitars, they're all carved up and stuff, especially on this wall, you know, something like bones, you know, there's a lot of carving on there. So sound waves are not going to hit that and reflect straight back off. They're going to go in different directions. Even the reflective ones, they're angled away from my listening position. So over the years, I've kind of realized that these act as, well, decoration, practical reasons as well, because I need my guitars at hand, but also they have a practical function in giving me good acoustics in this room. So I put them on 3 walls, and honestly, when I'm sitting right here and doing my work, I've been mixing for a few days in here, and I'm just astounded by what I can hear in the mix. I can hear so much deeper into the mix, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Fantastic to actually work in here now. So there you go, that's my brand new studio. I would love to hear what you think about it, what your favorite bit of the studio is. Leave a comment and let me know. It's going to be absolutely amazing shooting videos in here because I have so much more space and depth of field and stuff. Literally, I can stand back here. I can stand up and play something for you guys. That was pretty amazing doing, actually, because I was not able to do that in the old studio that I had. But it's going to be fantastic recording some new contents for you guys in here. Now, you will see the old studio now and then because I still have some videos which I need to edit, which I shot a good few months ago and which will be on the channel at some stage. But new videos will be done in here. I'm so looking forward to it. All right, guys and girls, I'm going to give you that track again, which I played with my Les Paul and standing up. That was so cool. Have a great day. I'll see you soon with another video. See you later. Bye.